Welcome to another episode of Scary Mysteries. If you've been here before, then welcome back, and if you're new, well, then you're in for a wild ride, and please remember to subscribe. Scary Mysteries Twisted News. Lovely Bones' new chapter. In 1972, MIT scientists predicted society's collapse. Terrifying cases of true crimes and strange events. Every week, Twisted News dives into two mysterious cases currently happening in our world. This week, we're going to tackle a shocking development in the 1981 rape case involving the Lovely Bones author, Alice Sebold, and the harrowing 1970s prediction about the actual collapse of our society, which is apparently coming true. Get ready for Scary Mysteries Twisted News. Number 1. Lovely Bones' new chapter. Famed author Alice Sebold was still a freshman at Syracuse University back in 1981 when she encountered a person that would forever change the trajectory of her life. And while many of us have seen or at least heard of the movie The Lovely Bones, adapted for the screen by acclaimed director Peter Jackson, a lot of people are unaware that it's based on a true story, and recently, a brand new chapter in this terrifying tale has been added. In the early hours of May 8, 1981, young Sebold was walking towards her home. It was part of her usual route from work to pass through a dark tunnel of an amphitheater near the campus. However, something happened that would cause her to never walk along that cursed path again. As she was strolling, a man emerged out of the darkness and rushed towards her. Her young, tender, and lithe figure were no match to the stranger's muscular build, and she was quickly overpowered and rendered helpless by her attacker. When she went to the police station after, officers found the victim filled with cuts, bruises, and abrasions on different parts of her body. Her clothes and hair were soiled, and a subsequent medical examination found traces of blood and semen inside her. Sebold was just 18 years old when she was raped. The pain and bitterness she felt on that one fateful night in 1981 were then forever immortalized in her memoir, which she later published in 1999 and was titled Lucky. 5 months after the incident, she spotted a man named Anthony Broadwater while walking down a street near the Syracuse campus, and she was really convinced that he was the one who beat and assaulted her that night. She reported him to the campus authorities, who immediately made an arrest. Interestingly, the woman failed to pick the suspect out from a subsequent police lineup. Instead, she pointed to another man, but despite this, Broadwater was charged and put on trial for the rape case. Later on, Sebold positively identified him as her attacker in court, and as a result, he was convicted based solely on her testimony. Broadwater, who once served in the U.S. Marine Corps, ultimately served 16 years in prison for his crime. Throughout the years, though, he insisted that he was an innocent man, and he eventually was released from prison in 1998, but he remained on the country's sex offender registry. Had it not been for the scrutiny of film producer Timothy Muccianti, Broadwater's name and reputation would forever be tarnished. But while working on a film adaptation for Sebold's memoir in 2021, the producer noticed some discrepancies in the part where the accused was put on trial. The details didn't hang together, Timothy would say in a later interview. He then subsequently hired a private investigator to review the evidence against Broadwater, and they found some rather disturbing details. For instance, it was reported that the composite sketch made based on the victim's description did not resemble him at all. The fact that there's little evidence presented at the trial also made Broadwater's swift conviction questionable. And so, on November 22, 2021, 4 decades since the Lovely Bones author made the accusations, the now 61-year-old Syracuse native was finally exonerated. By the review of a New York High Court, it was found that there had been some serious flaws with the 1982 prosecution. In response to this recent development, Sebold issued a public apology for playing a part in the wrongful conviction. "I am sorry, most of all, for the fact that the life you could have led was unjustly robbed from you," she wrote. "And I know that no apology can change what happened to you, and never will." Sebold's publisher also announced that they would temporarily stop distributing the best-selling memoir while they work on making revisions. Though he was relieved and grateful for the author's apology, Broadwater's team is now seeking financial restitution from the state for that wrongful conviction. Timothy, who dug up the case, is now also working on a documentary film about Broadwater. Wrongful convictions have not only ruined the lives of many innocent men and women, but have also undermined the credibility of our justice system overall. Though it tries to become more comprehensive and thorough, our legal system remains imperfect. This means that any one of us can be unjustly incarcerated for a crime we didn't commit in the first place. Number 2, 1972 prediction for a grim future. Nothing lasts forever. The things we get to enjoy every day, the comforts we get so accustomed to, and perhaps even the kind of human society we live in today, they will all perish. At least that's what the scientists from the 1970s had predicted. They may sound outlandish, but judging from the current state of our planet, we know deep in our hearts there's truth to what they are saying. In the 1970s, at MIT, a group of scientists came up with a method that would determine when the fall of human society would take place and what would be its catalyst. They discovered that the collapse will be at some point near the middle of the 21st century, that is, around the year 2040 to 2050. New scientific analysis suggests that, unfortunately, their predictions have been on track, and in fact, it appears that we are ahead of schedule. The factors causing this impending doom have, sad to say, been staring at us right in the eyes for a very long time. In the same study, the MIT researchers pointed out some of the most obvious reasons, like the accumulation of greenhouse gases emitted from fossil fuels and the rapid depletion of natural resources. A scenario they called business as usual, or BAU, suggests that the world's economic growth would peak around those years in the 2040s and 2050s, after which it would take a sharp downturn and would bring down, along with it, many things, such as food availability, global population, and natural resources. This turning point of our civilization would see human standards of living plummeting to the extent that it would feel like we're back in the Dark Ages. Despite this distressing outlook, it appears that there might still be some hope left for us after all. Nearly half a century after the MIT scientists presented their disturbing prediction, another researcher came forth to examine its implication to our current situation. In the November 2020 issue of the Yale Journal of Industrial Ecology, Gaia Harrington, a sustainability and dynamic system analysis expert, came forth with a positive proposition. In her study, she pointed out the so-called 10 different variables such as population growth, fertility rates, pollution levels, food production, and industrial output. She said that these factors have supposedly been manifesting at the rate in which the MIT scientists predicted them to be. However, Harrington emphasized that it's never too late to avoid these dreaded scenarios and put our society back on track to sustainability. She said that it would all begin with our decision to simply make the change. As of now, megacorporations, venture capitalists, and even governments from around the world have all been going after one thing: profit. They've been pursuing financial and economic dominance while showing total disregards for the fragile environment around us. Harrington posited that for us to survive, let alone maintain our way of living, we should deliberately limit our relentless pursuit for economic growth. And we must do this on our own accord before the lack of resources will force us to do so. Among other things, the sustainability expert also proposes population control as another viable means. This can be done by promoting family planning and giving ease of access to effective birth control solutions. Meanwhile, we should also put more focus on providing quality health and education services across all sectors in life. The bottom line here is that we decide our own fate. It's only us who can either make or break our future on this planet. These predictions, scary as they may sound, are all but a warning for what's to come if we continue to let greed, selfishness, and materialism rule our minds and hearts. So there were two of the most shocking and disturbing stories around. The world can be a crazy place, and Twisted News is sure to show you why. If you guys are interested in more terrifying topics and graphic content, or if you just want to show us support for the videos we put out each and every week, then go check us out on Patreon. Gain access to all our backload videos, vote on what to watch, suggest topics to cover, and more. Go to patreon.com/scarymysteries or click the link in the description.